could just turn and just face the ground. You don't have to get down. You could just face the ground. So you're facing that way. Yeah, you don't have to worry. You can sit in the chair and face that way if you want. That's perfect. Yeah, just turn your chair around. There you go. Barakatah Yahweh, Ahawa'ah, Natananawa, Awar, Ashabah, Shalom. Blessed are you, Yahweh, that give to us the Sabbath light of peace. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Wadash, Ayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Aba'ah, Ratazakah, Ayah, Asha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayim, Natananawa, Lacham, Kol, Yawam, Wasalach, Kabwab, Kasalach Nawa, Kabwabwat Yanawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Anasayawan, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Man, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Waha'ala, Wataparev, La Walamyan, Aman, our Father who art in heaven, set apart be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And let us not come into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the esteem forever. Amen. Amen. Shema, Shema, Yashara, Yashara, Yahweh, Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our power, Yahweh is one. You may stand in the presence of the Most High. Give him praise. All right. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We start off by saying, call hold on Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahweh Shah. All praises to the infinite, inexplicable, the mighty one of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name is Yahweh, he who causes to exist. And we do so to give him reverence in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, which name means Yahweh saves, or Yahweh's salvation. All right, I pray all is well with you, with your families, in your prospective gates. We're going to start off and get right into it. I really, when I first came into the truth, it would have been really beneficial if this particular scripture was told to me and taught. I probably would have avoided a lot of error. And just when you approach anything this has to do with your salvation or just life in itself, you should have a healthy understanding before you partake of that table or enter into any profession, you need to have an understanding about what you're getting into. How many times have we gone into jobs and we didn't really know the details until we got there? You know, and then we found out that, man, this isn't for me. Had I just done a little bit more research, I would have realized that this is not what I signed up for. And then you would have made an intelligent decision. Oftentimes, you know, calamity falls us because we have not done what I'm about to read in this truth and coming to the Most High. That's why you see most Christians behaving the way they behave, because they didn't take the time out to really investigate what it is that I'm agreeing to and what it is that I say that I am obedient to. Because when you say that you believe something, believe is synonymous with obeying. And so we don't see that in the church. We just see believing without the obedience. And then we see that even in Israel. Because there's some qualifications that you have to have before you enter into a profession, especially contingent on the profession that you're going to have. You can't just go and say, you know, I want to be a doctor. You can't just go and just, you know, just show up and say, okay, I'm ready. Okay, I've seen a couple of people do. I've watched a few YouTube videos of some operations, and now I'm just going to start operating on people. And you got your, I know it sounds funny, but you got your education off YouTube. And we got a generation like that now, Elder. It's a generation of Israelites. And we got our profession. This is the profession of our faith, of our obedience. This is our job. And so you really got a lot of unqualified Israelites that haven't really dove into the text and really understood their responsibility first and foremost. And so that's why you have all this confusion. That's why you have all this debate. That's why you have all these contentions. And even within your own families, because you really haven't understood what it is that you've embarked upon. All right. So again, going back to my example, I'm gonna get into some scriptures. When we, again, the YouTube mindset, nobody does that with any profession. You want to be you can get your degree online, but you have to show a healthy knowledge of, you know, what it is that you want to study. And then you still have people watching over you and looking to see if you are capable, making sure that you can pass these tests. When we look at the disciples were only released to teach after they had spent time with the Messiah. It was on the job training. It was on the job training. They were, as long as the Messiah was there, everything was fine. He was there to oversee it. And then the Messiah let them, he said, look, he told Peter, he said, once you're converted, you go strengthen your brothers. I want you to go out here and then strengthen your brothers. After the relationship, the intimacy with the Messiah, then they were sent and they were fit men and they were capable. We don't have that today. We're starting to see a lot of people going before they actually become capable and fit. And so we want to try to avoid that. So let me get into some scripture today. And hopefully that's none of us. If it is, then we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to go back and learn our profession before we're qualified to even teach. Because you got some people that have just taken it upon themselves. They looked at some YouTube videos. Oh, they qualified themselves. They got no elders. They just got a camp. They haven't come through any type of process, you know, rejecting counsel and just going on about their own. That's the equivalent of somebody, you know, wanting to work on you. And where you get your degree? YouTube. Yeah, I'm a certified surgeon. Who appointed you? Well, I seen some videos where they did open heart. I could work on you. And that's what is happening in Israel. And that's why you're seeing a lot of these leaders. I know it seems like I'm rambling, but I feel the Spirit is moving. That's why you see a lot of leaders starting off strong and then fading away. You see a lot of leaders that their names are being drugged through the mud. Some of the things that they're teaching. And it's for this reason here. Somebody give me the book of Ecclesiastes 5:1. Ecclesiastes 5:1. And if Elder don't put me on the time restraint, it may not be enough. But no, we'll see. It should be. Let's go.
I got you. This is the Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools.
Now, when I was reading that, I said, man, sometimes we go over that very quickly. But when you dissect this, it's saying guard your steps as you go unto the house. Okay, so to guard means to keep watch. In the Hebrew, we know that it's Shema or Shemor. Shema, to keep watch and to preserve. So a lot of us have entered into this, and we were keeping watch of other men. We were watching how they were performing, and we were watching a performance. But here it said, guard your steps as you go in the house of the Most High. So as you come to approach the Most High, your steps, meaning to walk, you come into his house, which is in the Hebrew is the bat or the bait. The bat madrash or midrash is the house of worship or study. So you have the responsibility of watching and being very alert when you come into the house of the Most High. Read on.
Come. For they consider not that they do evil.
Now notice, why did it say, again, read it from the top.
Come, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools.
You see that? Notice how it's associating it with what you do. Be more ready to hear, which in this context, the word hear is not the same. It is Shema.
Come.
It is Shema. So be more ready to hear and really comprehend diligently. Understand completely.
Right.
What it is that you're getting into. Because think about it. We've entered into something, but the division starts once you come in. If you totally had comprehended it prior to your coming in, it wouldn't be that much. It shouldn't be all these contentions. Because a lot of times people are just finding out once they get in. And you should have already put that time in, like the disciples did with the Messiah, before they were qualified to teach. You should already have that, a doctorate, 8 years? 10 years? You should already have that experience under your belt before you're even qualified. So a lot of us, again, it's not the job that you have, it's the job that you're qualified for and the job that you do. All right? So, again, I'm just going to break it down a little bit. Guard your steps, which are your feet, as you go to the house of the Most High, and draw near to listen. That's what it means to keep. Draw near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools. You know how many people are going out and giving a sacrifice, like teaching is a sacrifice.
Come.
Teaching is secondary. We're dealing with primary and secondary. You want to deal with primary, not secondary. If your motorcycle, because we use the example motorcycle, if your motorcycle got a wobble in it, are you more concerned with how the paint job looks or getting that stable?
Come.
We got to deal with primary, not secondary.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I think we have foregone the primary and our responsibility. Go ahead, bring it up.
Yeah, precept Exodus 3 and 5,
Mm-hmm.
verse 5. And he said, draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereof thou standest is holy ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we have to consider. That where we are, we're coming in the presence of the Most High, and He's getting ready to give you instruction. So it says to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools. A fool is someone that's stupid. According to the Hebrew, it's hachasalim, or hachasalam, meaning stupid fellow. That's that's the definition. He's a stupid fellow. And when we deal with stupid, we know that that's ignorant or lack of knowledge or rejected knowledge. Let's just go up into the root word here is kasal. A kasal yam would be, plural, but kasal, which stupid fellow, dullard, or fool, foolish man, fool, stupid man, stupid ones. That's what the definition. It says stupid a lot. All right. So when we look at that, that's what happens when we give sacrifices, not comprehending our profession and our responsibility first, which is to completely understand what you're getting into. And the only way you do that is by keeping your foot when you come before the presence of the Most High. And really, you're there to get your instructions. You're there to be taught so that you can operate as a professional. Does that make sense? Everybody is not qualified. All right, and we see that. Okay, and draw near to listen. There's nothing wrong with precepts flying, but the precepts that are flying, have you yourself comprehended them to where you're doing them? If you're not doing them, then you're actually stupid.
That's right.
I mean, I know that sounds hard, but you can't make this up. Guard your steps as you go to the house of the Most High, and draw near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of a stupid man. For they do not know they are doing evil. If they don't comprehend, you're doing evil when you give a sacrifice and you haven't drew nigh to the Most High to listen to His instructions. You're giving a sacrifice of food. Everybody that teaches and does not obey the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, go to any summit, put on any garb, you are giving a sacrifice as a stupid man. I know this ain't a beautiful message. That's a fool. Now we see where the scripture lets us know. Give me Psalms 14 and 1. We bring this out all the time.
He got a precept.
Come.
The book of Psalms, chapter 14, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
It says, the fool have said in his heart, there is no God.
Wait a second. So the fool, the stupid man, the foolish or senseless in this particular context, this foolish man is Nabal, and this is again the same foolish man or foolish woman or fools. All right. Especially of the man who has no perception of ethical and religious claims, and with collateral idea of ignoble, disgraceful, or absolute. In other words, not comprehending that there are consequences for your actions.
Right.
How many people in church have this mentality? There are no consequences for my actions. All I can do, I can put everything on my make-believe Savior. Because that's make-believe. He's not going to acquit the guilty. I can put everything on this make-believe person, because that's not the biblical man of the Most High. That's not the biblical son of the Most High. So I can put all this responsibility. Notice what it says, especially of a man who has no perception of ethical. I want to deal with ethics, morality, meaning your responsibility to the Most High, your conduct, based on the instructions that he's given. So let's go back and read that.
Psalm 14:1. The fool has said in his heart.
The foolish man who's not considered the consequences, the ethical responsibility of what he's embarked upon, the foolish man has said in his mind. That foolish man said, you got to be crazy to think in your mind that there is no God.
Right.
Finish reading it up.
There is no God.
Why would only a foolish man would think that way? How do we become a fool? When we go out here, when we teach this word, and we don't keep what he said. We're saying that there can't be no power. Because the word teaches what he says, teaches something different. If you do this, this is going to happen to you. If you don't do this, this is going to happen to you. You got to be a fool to go against that. And not understand your ethical responsibility to your profession. Read on.
They are corrupt.
They are what?
Corrupt.
Listen, what are they corrupt in? Where's their corruption, Yachanon? Where's the corruption? Where's the corruption, Dewar? What are they corrupt in? They're corrupt because they're not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. They have said in their mind, they have reasoned in themselves, I'm going to get away with this. He understands grace, mercy. They make all these things.
Right.
They make all these declarations. Oh, we living in a different time. As though the Most High is confounded by time. You see what I'm saying? Making all these excuses. If I don't work, I don't eat. Yeah, but work for who? Or for whom? Who should you be concerned about working for? So this person here, read again from the top.
Psalm 14:1.
Now, because we put this on people all the time. Today we're going to put it on ourselves.
That's right.
We got to start with ourselves. Read.
The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works.
Abominable works. In one translation it reads abominable deeds. Which works are these? You've done abominable deeds. What are we seeing in Israel from men that are teaching? What are we seeing about their conduct? They're breaking the laws. Damn. They are adulterers. In adultery, that's abominable. They're fornicators against the Most High. Hypocrites. These scriptures apply to Israel. A lot of times we want to put them on other people. They apply to Israel. Read on.
There is none that doeth good.
There's no foolish man that does good. There's no stupid man or stupid woman that does good. You can't. It's impossible. You can't do what's right. All right. Let's go to 1 Samuel 15 and 22.
We got a preset.
Okay.
He said 2 Samuel what?
1 Samuel.
1 Samuel
15 and 22. We're familiar with these scriptures.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
And Samuel said, hath the Most High as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Ooh, hold on. Let's stop right there. Your burnt offerings. All right. We know that the Levitical system of burnt offerings were given to many times to atone and to appease sin temporarily. It was never anything permanent. Hopefully it would teach you, Israel, to not sin anymore. But we see where Israel kept coming back with animal sacrifices. let you know that they were evil because they kept committing iniquity. All right. In spite of being in the presence of the Most High, in spite of seeing all his power, in spite of knowing that they're an Israelite. All right. And this is what we get caught up. We get caught up in the lights of social media. We get caught up, man. A lot of us I'm telling you, a lot of the certain generation, we know what that can bring because we know what TV brought. But evil communication corrupts good manners. We know that without a doubt. But let's look at this again. Samuel said, "Has the Most High as much delight in burnt offerings?" Which again, these burnt offerings were whole burnt offerings. These were things that actually appeased and atoned for sin temporarily. And sacrifices. Sacrifices are not always wrong. The Hebrew word for sacrifice is sabak. You could give a righteous sacrifice. Sacrifices were, we see all through Israel, a sacrifice. We sacrifice every time you go out there and you teach this word. All right, you make a sacrifice. Sacrifice is also synonymous with obviously an offering, feasting, and slaughter, because one would have to slaughter an animal to be accepted from the Most High. We know the animals and the requirement was that without blemish, and that was to teach us to be unblemished, right? But the Most High, the question was asked. So we should never be confused about our qualifications, and just because you're teaching is not enough. Just because you're teaching the word is not enough. Just because you have doctor above your name doesn't make you qualified. You can be a Dr. Kevorkian. You could be a Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, you could be Dr. Dre. See what I'm saying? These are no doctors that are acknowledged in the medical field. And you got a lot of Israelites that in the eyes of the Most High, you're not acknowledged as one of his. All right? Let's read it again. Read the whole thing.
Come, 1 Samuel 15 and 22. And Samuel said, hath Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Most High.
As in obeying the voice of the Most High. This is, why do we keep talking about it? Because Israel keep missing it. Everything the Most High told us to do. It is hypocritical to say, do this, and you don't do it. You, my brother, are a false teacher. All right, you have met the qualifications of being a teacher of the Most High's word. Where did we see who he sent? He sent Moses. He sent the prophets. He sent his only begotten son. Show me anyone that the Heavenly Father sent that fared well not doing what he said.
Come on, right.
And they kept teaching.
Right.
It's not in the Bible.
Right.
I'd be afraid. I would tell people, brothers, I said, man, just sit yourself down. You're better off sitting down than to take the position. What type of trouble you gonna get in for being a doctor? Everybody think you're a doctor. You come and you show up, somehow you manage to slip through the cracks. You gotta, find out you done did surgery, you done killed somebody, and they found out that you weren't even operating. You never went to that school. You learned in your backyard, watching YouTube. You was working on dogs. What you think's gonna happen? What type of trouble you think you're gonna be in? It's gonna be way much worse with the Most High. Go ahead.
So like y'all remember like 5-6 years ago, the young brother was like 17, 18, and he was portraying himself to be a doctor, and he was doing surgeries and all that, and he falsified his credentials and everything.
You can't make this up.
Yeah.
You
And
can't.
He ended up getting in trouble.
Of course he got in
I
trouble.
remember that.
You remember that? Yeah.
Of course he got in trouble because he was not qualified. Neither was he certified.
Right.
Even the Pharisees, Yhwhc, because they went through a certain qualification, they had understanding of the law. But Yhwhc, none of us in here probably has right now that type of, these men were raised up since their youth, speaking the Hebrew, understanding the language, understanding all the remezes and the different terminology, the slang, everything. They were master teachers of the law. But even Yhwhc had to come against them. So that tells you none of us are probably right now more qualified than those Pharisees in terms of our knowledge. I'm gonna get to you. Let me just say this right here. But look how Yhwhc said to them, you hypocrites, and destruction to you. You ain't teaching better than them. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Right here now, ain't nothing. So if you think you're teaching, you're going out there in your little Superman suit, you going out there thinking, but you ain't doing what they did. You're not even close in terms of the knowledge. However, it's the spirit that comes with obedience that's going to make you wiser than your teachers. You see, like King David said, all right, he had learned men, but it was the spirit of the Most High, his obedience, that made him wiser than his teachers. Go ahead, what were you going to say, Yahshua?
Oh, I had a precept on that.
Bring it out.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 15, and verse 8. This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth, and honor me with their lips. Stop
right there. That's powerful scripture. We do that when we go out there and teach. We honor. Look in the script. Look how plain the scriptures are. I know I'm going on a little side note, but when you see where it says about those that make their prayers in public, standing, you see that the so-called Jews, they do that in Israel. They stand there at the wall to be seen of men. And we have to be careful that we don't take on that same persona when we go out there and when we put all the emphasis on with teaching. I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work. That's sacrifice. Don't mistake teaching for obedience. Go ahead. Read.
This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth, and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
But their heart is far from. That's what Yhwhc was proving the disciples to see if they loved him. Do they love me? He said, if you love me, you're gonna keep these commandments. You're gonna guard. It goes back to what we read in Ecclesiastes 5:1. You're gonna guard. You're gonna regard. You're gonna be very careful when you come into the house of the Most High, and you're gonna regard these instructions. You see that? Well, let him finish that, and then you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Shalom.
But in vain they do worship me.
Whoa! Yahshua on it today. In vain do they worship me. Meaning, you think teaching is better than obedience? You're not qualified to teach. You need to sit down. If you're not obedient above your teaching, you don't need to teach. In vain do they worship me. Meaning, you think it's a sacrifice. We just read in 1 Samuel 15:22, obeying the voice of the Most High is better than sacrifice. Ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of a stupid man. Because a stupid man and a stupid woman is going to think that their sacrifices are somehow substitute for obedience. It will never, ever happen. Not in this lifetime and not in the next. Read that part again, Yahshua.
But in vain they do.
In vain, you're on them corners. In vain, you're going to the summit. In vain, you're putting on these garbs. Everything you do, in vain, you're studying. Your study services, all that's vanity. Doesn't matter. The breaking down and the debates and the arguments, in vain, what?
But in vain they do worship.
In vain. So you can worship the Most High in vain.
Teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
You teaching the commandments of men. What's the commandment of men? I got to do this rather than the law. And how do you teach that? By when you do it. That's a real teacher teaches by example. We don't see any of the teachers in the book that weren't an example. Not the righteous teachers. They were not the example. Show me a hypocritical teacher in Israel that the Most High was pleased with, and I'll just walk out. It's not in vain you worshiping the Most High. The Most High loves us too much to have us keep doing this. We can't do it anymore and think that we're going to be successful. Know that you're a vain man. Know that you're teaching in vain. Know that what you're doing is in vain. Know that your sacrifice is the sacrifice of a fool. All right? Read on. Was that it on that? Go ahead, King Kahan.
Yeah, what you were saying about like being a doctor and you're really not a doctor, it's called like a honorary degree, which is a honorary degree is an academic degree for which a university has waived all of the usual requirements.
You see that? And a lot of people have given themselves honorary degrees.
Right.
As Israelites.
Right.
I'm an honorary. What? You know, again, it's not that you have to go through any school except the school of the master teacher, which is Hamashiach Yhwhc. And based on what he's told us, that's who you are. Based on what you do. He's the one that qualifies us. Remember, he's looking to prepare us without spot or wrinkle, to present us before the Heavenly Father. Go ahead.
Okay, it says, with the university has waived all of the usual requirements, such as matriculation, attendance, course credits, a dissertation, and the passing of comprehensive examinations, which we see our people still. I'm talking about our people. I'm talking about us now. We suffer from cognitive dissonance because if you think that these sacrifices that you're giving to the Most High are going to be accepted above your obedience, then you got an honorary degree from a non-credited institution.
Yeah, and the brother Kahan, that's a good point too, because the things that he actually named as far as dissertation, the credibility, and everything that he named, those are things that are deemed to get a degree. So you have a lot of brothers, like Priest is saying, they're cheaters. You can't cheat your way through this, man. I've had a conversation with a lot of brothers, okay, even relatives that are into this. You know what I'm saying? And you can't cheat your way through this. You understand what I'm trying to say? So, like the priest is saying, you know, the proper way to get through this, you got to have obedience, you got to have discipline, you got to have patience. You know, these are the things that you have to qualify you as a servant of the Most High. You can't cheat your way and look at what another brother's doing and go and put on all the aspects of being a teacher falsely. You can't do that. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to find yourself doing this work for about maybe a year or two, couple of months, maybe 3, because you have nothing to fall back on. You understand what I'm trying to say? These scriptures are the sound doctrine right here that you have to implant and be rooted in. If you don't go the right direction, you're not going to have nothing to fall back on. That's the reason why you see brothers that are here today and they're gone tomorrow, man.
Give me the book of 1 Samuel 13:13.
I just want to let me back off what the brother was saying. Yachanon was saying about that vanity. This is Wisdom of Solomon 3:11. For whoso despiseth wisdom and nurture, he is miserable, and their hope is vain. Their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable.
And that goes for us as teachers. You could be teaching in vain. You could be laboring in vain. All that is not going to profit you. That's what we in Samuel. Give me 1 Samuel 13:13.
1 Samuel 13:13. And Samuel said to Saul, thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandment
You have done what?
foolishly.
What did we say a fool was? The fool is said in his heart. The word fool is a stupid man that hasn't accepted and understood the ethical principles that he must comply to. That's somebody that you got to be a fool. Say, I'm not going to comply to those ethical, but I'm going to keep on teaching. Huh? To be crazy. Read.
Come. Thou hast done foolishly.
You have done foolishly. To be a foolish or a fool. Again, a stupid person. Go ahead.
Thou hast not kept the commandment.
You have what?
Not kept the
So
commandment.
you are foolish. The fool is said in his heart. You foolish when you don't keep the commandment.
Come. That's right.
You foolish. Read again from the top.
Come. And Samuel said to Saul, Thou hast done foolishly. Shalaki, thou hast not kept the commandment of Yahweh thy power, which he commanded thee.
From Yahweh. That's why in Samuel says, better to obey the voice of the Most High than to give the sacrifice of a fool. You know, that was Ecclesiastes, but Samuel was telling you the Most High delights. He doesn't delight in burnt offering. It's obedience. Read on.
Come. For now would Yahweh have established thy kingdom.
Woo. So you see the weight of this? How can we ever be established if we don't get this? How will we ever be established? The word established, to be firm, man. The Most High is going to establish. He's going to establish your health. That means kum. That's where we get the word kumbaya from in the Hebrew. To establish my steps or order my steps. When we were saying kumbaya, we really order our steps on how to get the hell out of this condition. You understand that? Order my steps. Not from the mindset of just, pointing you in a direction. You don't have nothing you just wild and running all wild with your hands flayed up in the air and you don't know what direction, just going in one direction. No, he's given us the order, his instructions, his voice, and he's prescribed us the perfect remedy for our condition. So this word kum, aim, appointed, carried, certain, he wants to firm us up, man. But if you're not going to be firm, if you don't put the obedience before the sacrifice, you're not qualified to teach, and you should sit down until you comprehend that aspect of it. You'd be better off, because now you're working as an imposter. In vain. Your work is in vain. You might as well just stay home. Get you some sleep. Don't pick the book up at all. You don't need to come out there and march, wear your shoes out for nothing. It's like marching. It's like marching. It's not going to benefit you. It's going to benefit the sneaker company. Because you're going to buy some more Jordans. Exactly what you're going to do. Go ahead.
Come. Yeah, all praises. For now would the Most High have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever.
Forever. Look at that. Look, you see that? The sleight of hand. That 3-card month. All you had to do is just look the world of trouble we got in. He would establish the kingdom forever. And that wasn't just with him. It would have been for all of Israel to be established. So let me get some precepts. Give me Exodus 18, 19 and 20. We're going to see a pattern here. I like to look at patterns. And we know these scriptures, but do we really know them? Do we have intimacy with these scriptures?
Come.
Is it my meditation all the day? Am I making sure that I have prioritized and obedience is better than my sacrifice? If your sacrifice game is stronger than your obedience game, stop. Stop. You got to fix it. And we can fix it today. All praises to the Most High. That's the beautiful thing.
Right.
That's the good news. That's the good tidings. The good tidings is obedience to the Torah. That's the only time we're going to have good news. But other than that, it's going to be bad news. Come on. Let's go. Exodus 18:19.
It's the book of Exodus chapter 18 verse 19. Hearken now unto my voice.
Ooh, hearken now. This is when you comprehend the profession. I see so many teachers that are not qualified. He said, hearken now. This is from the little ones to the adults. This is your first love. This is what you got to get first. Read on.
Come. I will give thee counsel.
I will give thee counsel. It doesn't happen this way. Did he say go out and teach? He gonna give you counsel. Have all the fellowship in the world. He gonna give you counsel. No, read again from the top.
Hearken now.
Hearken now. That's if I don't teach none of lightning come and blow me up right now. Get that. Hearken now. Right now. Read on.
Unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and Yhwhc shall be with thee.
And Yhwhc shall be with thee. What's more important than that? Anybody? If you got something better than that, let me know.
Get better than that.
It don't get no better than that.
Come.
And look how simple it is. But look how it misses it. Look how many teachers not qualified to teach. Not qualified to stand in the presence of the Most High. That's why I said be more ready to hear than to give a foolish sacrifice. And the Most High don't want none of us in here to be giving foolish sacrifices. Right. Most High look and say, damn, they stupid. Look at him, look what he's doing. Somebody won't do that. Just do that. Do that first.
Right.
Yeah, read. I guess that's it on that one, I believe. No, go to 20. What was that?
I'm still in 19.
Go with, read on.
Be thou for the people to the Most High ward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto the Most High.
Bring their causes. Come on.
Verse 20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances.
You shall what?
Teach them ordinances.
How did Moses teach ordinances? Did Moses break any of those ordinances? The time that he didn't do the instruction, obeyed the voice of the Most High, look what happened. Do we see the gravity of this? That's why Yahweh said, oh, I'm not here to sin.
Right.
I'm not here to break nothing.
Right.
Because I'm disqualified. I'm not a teacher sent of the Most High. I'm a hypocrite. Read.
And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws.
And laws. Come on.
And shalt show them the way wherein they must walk.
What should we do?
Show them the way wherein.
How do you show your children how to walk? A lot of people say, I want example. Look, a lot of people say, I walk like my father. Because I was always with my dad. So I would pick up his attributes. So they say, people, cousins and them, and aunties, man, you walk just like your father. That's my father. And that's what, if he's our father, we're supposed to walk like our father. Or if you have a big brother that you look up to, Yahweh, we're supposed to be looking up to, we got to walk just like he walked. It's just that simple. Read on.
Come. And the work that they must do.
And the work how did my dad teach? He didn't just say, take out the trash, son. I was watching him as a little boy, take out the trash. Right. He was an example. We have to be examples to our children, and how much more to the flock out here. It's not just in us appearing and showing up. Ta-da! Here we go. Here you go. Captain Caveman. That's what you coming as if you're not keeping these laws and you teaching you a caveman. You showing up as a caveman. You might as well be out there going, that would be better. Because you wouldn't get in that much trouble. You're not holding the truth in unrighteousness.
Right.
You see, you're not going to get in that much trouble. Read on.
Okay, come. That was it on 20.
Okay, 20. Give me this real quick, because I know elders, he got me on this time. Leviticus 10 and 11. How much more time I got? 20 minutes, yeah. I got these precepts I want to get out.
It's the book of Leviticus chapter 10, verse 11. And it reads, and that ye may teach the children of Israel.
That he what?
Teach the children.
Teach the children If you're a qualified teacher, the first responsibility is to your family. It's to your wife and to your children. And you got to teach them. How you teach them? By an example. You can't be doing the opposite. You can't be saying, oh, I see you, I got to go to work on the Sabbath and they're at the house. What? What's my dad teaching? You're going to grow up saying, Daddy went, so I'm going to do it too. And a lot of these schools that are not qualified to teach, you know, they got the glamour, the glitter, they like the, you know, the youthful thing, but they don't have no time in conversion or obedience. Captain Obadiah used to bring it out. He didn't spend a day in conversion. And then you see this inconsistency.
Right.
A bad father is going to give you what? Bad tendencies. You're going to have bad conduct. You're going to emulate your father. Everybody talking about the father not in the home. That's overrated. Because you can have a wicked father in the home.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We've been substituting, well, ain't nobody else teaching the word. I'm teaching the word. I'm somebody. No, you not.
Right.
The Most High got men that have not bowed the knee to Baal. He got men. Don't think that he don't. He don't need you to sacrifice.
Right.
He needs you to obey. And then you'll be the acceptable sacrifice. Read on.
Come. And that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which Yahweh hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses.
That's how you teach them. And the example is how Moses taught them. The example is how Yhwhc taught them.
That's right.
The example is how the prophets taught them. How did they teach them? By doing it and by obedience. You think Jeremiah was prophesying and doing the opposite? Isaiah and all the consequences for transgression and sin, and they was doing something different?
Wow.
Oh man, no. We got this book twisted.
Come.
They knew, then they knew if they did, they knew they were in trouble.
That's right.
Look what happened with Jonah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, woe unto me if I don't preach the gospel. But preaching the gospel comes along with living the gospel.
Come.
All right? Give me Deuteronomy 4:1.
Come. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 1. And it reads, Shalach. Now therefore, hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you.
Come on, because you are being taught by the teacher so that you can teach. That was the reason for us to get into our nation. I'm going to teach you to do it. This is your labor. I'm going to show you how to do it. Then I want you to teach them how to do it. And we should be a nation of people that are actually doing the law, showing each other how to do the law. And other nations will look to us because of our example, not because of our sacrifice of teaching. Go ahead.
Come. It says, now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them that ye may live.
That ye may live. For to do them that ye may live. That goes for the teacher, goes for the student, that goes for the whole nation. That's Israelite 101. You are not qualified to teach if you're not doing that.
Come.
All right? Let's give me Deuteronomy 5:31.
Come. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 31. But as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto all thee, Shalaki, and I will speak unto thee all the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which thou shalt teach them.
That which I'm going to speak, Deuteronomy 5:31. I'm going to teach them and speak. I'm going to speak all that he said we will do. Israel never not did and taught. You won't see that pattern in the scriptures. You do it, then you teach it. All right? You do it. Read. That's it on that one. Give me, for time's sake, give me Isaiah 30 and 20.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 30, verse 20.
And this is what's going to testify against us. Come on.
And it reads, and though the Most High give you the bread of adversity.
Even though we're going through what we're going through right now, even though we're subject to the curses, read on.
Come. And the water of affliction.
And the water of affliction. Come on.
Ye shall not, thy teachers, be removed into a corner anymore.
Read it again from the top. You're missing something.
Come, Shalaki. And though the Most High give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner.
Right. You're not going to be able to push the true teachers into a corner. Come on.
Anymore. But thine eyes shall see thy teachers.
This is what's going to testify. Because we have seen our teachers. The people that have come back to the law, statutes, commandments, the Messiah, the prophets, we've seen that. And our nation saw righteous examples. Do you see that? There were people we see in scripture that kept the law. You know, in the so-called New Testament, whole families who found grace and mercy through Yhwhc for being obedient. When we read the book of Hebrews 11, it gives us an example of those that were obedient.
Come.
How much more us as teachers? All right. Give me 1 Timothy 1 and 7.
Come.
Almost finished.
It's the book of 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. Desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say.
Woo, you know, man, you taking a light thing to pick up this Bible and then start reading out of this word and read this truth. Read it again for the top.
Come, the book of 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. Desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say.
You not understand. You can't understand if you giving sacrifice above obedience as a teacher. Read on.
Nor whereof they affirm.
Or nor what you affirming. How you affirming? What type of power you think you walking in? You don't have no power. You know, the Christian church, I got something coming up I got to do. It's a Zoom debate. Because sometimes y'all don't know all the things that we get into, me and the other. We wear many hats and do a lot of different things outside of this here. But this is the second time I have a little Zoom debate. And you know, you got Israelites asking, well, why y'all brothers on the street all the time and never lay hands on people like the church? Why y'all ain't, you know, just out there praying? Well, we know it's many scriptures that say, you know, help not a sinner. You know, Yhwhc, pray not for the world. So all these things that they don't understand. But a lot of reasons why we don't see the manifestation of the power is because of this right here. Because we are not yet fit to be teachers. We're not yet fit because you haven't put obedience above teach, so you're not qualified. So you're not going to have that power. You're not going to have that impetus, that driving force behind you. You see what I'm saying? Read on.
Come, verse 8. But we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully.
Oh, we know that the law is good. How you use the law lawfully? How do you use the law lawfully?
Right.
You got to do it. If you're not doing it, it's unlawful use of the law. You got it, and it's unlawful use of the law. You know. 2 Peter 2 and 1.
Come. It's the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2, verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you.
It shall be what?
False teachers.
A false teacher is a teacher that doesn't do this. It doesn't do the commandments. False. So that's why I say it's better to sit yourself down. It's better to sit yourself down and say, you know what? Wait a second. I'm going to start coming to class more. I'm going to actually look at my life, examine myself to see if I'm obedient to the faith before I claim that I'm a professional teacher. It's nothing wrong with checking yourself before he has to. And you wonder why all of a sudden a demon come out there and bite you in the neck like a vampire in Brooklyn. You turn into a ghoul because you're not qualified. You're not qualified. And we're not saying this to put shame on anybody, but yet to shame you into righteousness. Because you're going to do this in vain. What profit a man to gain the world, man, and lose his soul? You can do that knowing you're an Israelite. How many Israelites lost their soul, Yhwhc, knowing they were Israelites? Died knowing the Torah. Destroyed. And knew that they had a better option. All right. I know this ain't happy time message. So what? 2 Peter, we did 2 and 1. Yeah, read that again.
Come. This is 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you.
You got to ask you, am I one of those false teachers? You got to ask yourself, am I a false teacher? And if you are, then just fix it. False teachers. Okay, was that it on that?
Nah.
Read on.
Who privily shall bring in damnable heresies.
You wonder why all these bug out doctrines happen. Is because somewhere along the line, you're not doing something right. If something is attacking your camp and you always in something, I'm gonna tell you this. It's sin somewhere around there. Well, it may not be by you, but it's sin somewhere in the camp. Because sin in the camp doesn't discriminate. It's going to affect everybody. Just ask Joshua. Just ask Joshua. You had to get it out. It had to come out. All right. Give me Matthew 23:14. Kahan, give me Job 8:13. Joshua, give me Job 27:8.
This is Matthew 23, verse 13, 14.
14.
Come. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
The Pharisees were teachers. Like I said, they were master teachers. A lot of them, man, ain't nobody knew the law like this. He said, destruction unto you. Read.
For ye devour widows' house.
Again, the point being, hypocrites. That's somebody that puts sacrifice, because the Pharisees are still teachers, and they still taught, and they put their garments, they put their phylacteries, they put the outward appearance above the obedience. Poses. And Yhwhc said, woe to them. Read on.
And for pretense, make long prayer. Therefore, ye shall receive the greater damnation.
You shall receive the what?
Greater damnation.
It's better not to teach. It's better not to teach. You're going to receive a greater damnation because you know better.
Right.
At least if you talk, listen, at least if you said, you know what, I'm going to sit myself down. That tells people, okay, he got a spirit that the Most High can work with.
Right.
He got a conscience. You see what I'm saying? Had brothers did that, sometimes, their folly would have never been made known. Most High gave them space to repent, and they didn't do it. Because you knew what you were not doing. You knew it all the time. Give me Job, give me the scriptures out. Job 8:13.
This is the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 13. So are the paths of all that forget the Most High. And the hypocrites' hope shall perish.
It's going to perish. A lot of people got hope, they got false hope. If you're a hypocrite, all your hope, you think you guys going to perish. I hope the Most High don't kill me. I hope he let me get away with this. I hope don't nobody find out. Read that again. Your hope will perish, man. All that, you about to get exposed.
Job 8:13. So are the paths of all that forget the Most High.
All the paths that forget your responsibility, the obedience over the sacrifice. Read.
And the hypocrites' hope shall perish.
Shall perish, man. Job 27:8.
This is the book of Job, chapter 27, and verse 8. For what is the hope of the hypocrite?
What is the hope? Come on.
Though he have gained when God taketh away his soul.
Ooh. Though he have gained, but when the Most High taketh away his soul. Man, that sends chills through my body. What is his gain? All this that you did, and we already know in the scriptures. Well, I did this, that's going to be a lot of Israelites. I did this in your name. I prophesied in your name. I was out there in them streets, man, day in, day out. I stayed out there all the time, man. I said, Yahweh. Man, look, I don't know what you're talking about. All right? I'm going to read this. Let's see. This is Isaiah read. I'll read verse 1. But now thus saith Yahweh that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. Let's see here. Verse 16. Thus saith Yahweh, which maketh a way in the sea, and a path in the mighty waters, which bringeth forth the chariots and horse and the army and the power. They shall lie down together, they shall not rise. They are extinct, they are quenched as tow. Remember ye not the former things. Because when you say you're a teacher and then you don't do what the Most High instructs you to do as a teacher of Him, you're remembering the former things. Neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing now, it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. How was He going to make that? How did all that provision come about?
Obedience.
Through Israel's obedience. Applying the blood, doing what the Most High. None of that provision came out by you doing what you want to do. All right? Verse 21. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. But thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob. But thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of thy burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifice. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Thou hast brought me no sweet cane with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices, but thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine iniquities. I, even I, am he that blotteth out the transgressions for my own sake, and will not remember thy sins. Put me in remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare thou that thou mayest be justified. Thy first father have sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Teachers transgress. Man, that's a heavy penalty, man. We can't do that again. Therefore, I have profaned the princes, the leaders of the sanctuary. And we're seeing that now happening. And have given Jacob to the curse and Israel to reproaches. It's because the teachers have transgressed against me. Are you a teacher that has transgressed or presently transgressing against the Most High? All right, I think I'm not going to go into that. Give me 1 Chronicles 12 and 8.
The book of 1 Chronicles chapter 12 verse 8. And of the Gadites, there separated themselves into David, into the hold, to the wilderness men of might.
Men of might, man. Come on.
And men of war.
And men of war. Because if you're this, give me Deuteronomy 28. Chapter 20, verse 8, real quick.
Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 8.
Yachanon, Deuteronomy 28, 58.
Come.
Go ahead.
And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful?
If you fearful what? Fearful of what?
Most High.
You fearful of what you have to face, the trials, the challenges you have to face. Which man is fearful? If you're afraid to keep these commandments, read the rest.
And faint-hearted.
And faint-hearted, read.
Let him go and return unto his house.
Go back home. He didn't say go ahead and teach. He didn't say come to camp. This was the camp. This was the military. This is where the battle, we get ready to go into battle. We get ready to go into war after here. Do not go to battle if you're scared to keep the commandments. Read on.
Yeah, this is good right here. Lest his brethren's heart faint.
Let sin in the camp. It's infectious. Your brothers are, how it look when your brother, you got a brother beside you keeping the law, statute, commandment. He keeping the Sabbath every Sabbath. And then there's other brothers that's missing, other than brothers coming. And what you think it's going to do to that brother's faith?
Right. Right.
He going to be like, well, hell, I can do it too.
Right.
All right. So that applies too, because remember, able men, the Most High is looking for able men. Remember, it was a fit man that had to take the goat. It was somebody fit, that means capable. But if you're not capable, you're not qualified. If you're not fit, you're not qualified to teach, man. Stay home. Stay home. I don't want you on the battlefield with me. Because it get to a place, and this ain't about me, but if I'm doing what the Most High asked me to do, I'm leaving. I can't stay. I mean, that's gonna make me a hypocrite. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta help each other. We gotta help each other to stay right. And I'm just doing my job. Revelation 21:8. Oh, I gave somebody a scripture.
Deuteronomy 28 and 58.
Yeah.
It's Deuteronomy 28 and 58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh thy power.
That's right. Yeah, read again.
If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law,
If you will not, come on.
that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh thy power.
Read on.
Verse 59. Then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful,
He's gonna make your plagues wonderful. Come on.
and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues.
You're gonna hurt your children playing around with the Most High. But Smokey said, he got me messed up with big worms. Got me in the mix with this man. Man, you don't want to get in the mix with the Most High. Go ahead.
And of long continuance.
And long continues. The Most High is nothing to play with. We've seen it. We've experienced it even in this camp personally, man. This is just the Most High any day. We don't know. But what we know to do, we need to do it. Yeah, we don't have time. We don't have time. That's it on there. What did I have somebody else over?
Revelation 21:8.
Go ahead.
But the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake, which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Fearful. If you're fearful, that's why I said stay at home. If you're fearful, the fear is to keep these commandments, man. That's what, if you're afraid to do them, if it's something that's an obstacle that's telling you, oh man, I can't, that means you're fearful. And it's better to go home. It's better to go home, sit down. Don't come out here. The Most High didn't even, it was a law. You couldn't come to battle. And if you're fearful to keep the commandments, you shouldn't be out teaching. If you're fearful to keep the commandments, you shouldn't defile your brother with your iniquity and contaminate the camp. All right? With that, I say shalom.
Preach Yachanon.